The sky was gray. The wind screamed like a dying beast. Snowflakes fell thick and fast, covering the world in white silence. Everything looked dead frozen rocks, broken trees, and a trail of deep footprints half buried behind her. Nayari couldn't feel her feet anymore. Her legs were numb. Her skin, once a soft pale violet, had turned dull. She held a baby tightly against her chest. The child didn't cry anymore, not because she was warm, but because she was too cold to cry. Nayari's breathing became slower. Her mouth moved, but no words came out, only a quiet hum. Broken lullaby. One she had learned from her own mother long ago, before everything had gone wrong. She kept walking, step by step, but she didn't know where she was going. She had been walking for 2 nights. She had no food, no shelter, no hope. They had thrown her out like trash. Her people, the Valari, had strict rules. A woman could only have a child through ceremony, through law, through bloodlines approved by the elders. Nayari broke all 3. She loved someone outside her caste. She kept her baby, and so they punished her. Take her to the outer ice. One elder had said coldly, "Let the snow finish what shame has started." They dragged her from her home. They didn't let her take warm clothes. They gave her nothing. Just her child. Just the cold. Now she stood in that same cruel snow, her legs shaking. Nayari looked down at her baby. Little Sana's eyes were closed. Her lips were dry. She was so still, too still. "No," Nayari whispered, the words sticking in her throat. She stopped walking. Her legs gave out, and she dropped to her knees. The snow welcomed her like a grave. She pulled the baby closer, wrapping what little cloth she had around her. Her arms trembled, her teeth chattered. But she began to sing, quietly, softly. The song was from another time, another life. "Sleep, little flame, though the stars are gone. I'll hold you close until the warmth comes on." Her voice cracked, but she kept singing. For the child, for herself. Maybe the snow could freeze her body, but it wouldn't take her last song. The snow piled higher, her eyelids drooped. The world faded, but just before the silence took her completely. Crunch, crunch, someone was walking nearby. Heavy boots. In snow, slow, steady steps. Nayari didn't open her eyes. She couldn't, but the footsteps grew louder, then stopped. Silence, then a voice. "Wait, is that?" It was deep, male, rough but surprised. Not her language, not her people. The sound of something dropping, maybe a pack. Then fast movement. "Oh no! Oh no no no! Noir, you alive? Please be alive." Warm hands touched her frozen arm. Nayar flinched weakly. "She's breathing," the man said, this time with relief. Then he looked down and gasped. A baby. He didn't wait. He unzipped his own heavy jacket and pulled both Nayari and her child inside, close to his body. Heat rushed against her frozen skin. "I don't know what you are," the man whispered, lifting her gently into his arms. "But I'm not letting you die." Nayari tried to speak. Her lips barely moved. "Sa-na." The man looked down at the baby Sana. "That her name?" She gave the smallest nod. "Okay, Sana," he said, voice soft. "Let's get your mom out of the snow." He walked fast, focused, carefully. He didn't know who she was. He had never seen a being like her before. Pale skin, strange markings, but she looked human enough. And the baby. She looked like a miracle trying to survive in a world that didn't want her. The man's name was Tulai. He had come to the outer snowlands looking for old alien tech. Everyone said these lands were abandoned, empty. But now he was carrying life in his arms to fragile lives, up ahead. He saw the shadow of an old outpost, half buried in snow, long forgotten. He kicked open the door, creaked, and nearly fell. Inside was cold, but it blocked the wind. That was enough. He laid them down gently on a pile of thick cloth from his bag. He turned on his emergency heater. It hissed and glowed orange. Eli covered them with every blanket he had. He looked at the baby. She was breathing barely. Then at the woman. Her face was tired, eyes closed, but alive. Eli sat beside them, pulling out a ration bar. He broke it in half and held it near her lips. "Eat," he said softly. "Just a little, please." Nayari's lips moved. She took a small bite, then another. Her eyes fluttered open, just a little. Eli smiled. "That's it. You're safe now." She didn't understand the words, but for the first time since her exile, she believed them. Eli sat on the cold floor of the broken outpost, his back against the wall, eyes never leaving the two fragile beings curled up beside the heater. The woman alien, beautiful in a strange way, was still asleep, wrapped tightly in every layer of cloth he had. Her arms cradled the baby like it was the only thing keeping her alive. The baby made a small sound. A soft, weak coo. Eli moved closer. He didn't touch, just watched. "You're a fighter, kid," he whispered. The storm outside howled again, shaking. The metal walls, snow, blew through the cracks. But inside, the heater kept glowing. It was old, barely holding on, but it worked. Eli pulled out a scanner from his pack and tapped the screen. He checked air levels, power reserves, emergency rations. 2 days, he muttered. "That's all we got unless the supply drone finds me." He looked at them again. He didn't expect to find anyone out here, especially not them. He came to this snowy wasteland to search for lost Valeri tech. The region had once been home. 2 ancient alien settlements, long abandoned, but no one said anything about. Living people, or dying ones, hours passed. The woman slowly stirred. Her eyes opened. Not fully just a crack. Enough to see this strange man sitting near her. She blinked slowly. Eli noticed and smiled gently. "You're awake," he said. "You're safe." She didn't respond. He pointed at his chest. Eli then pointed at her. She stared at him. Her lips opened slightly. "Nori. Ni ya." Eli repeated carefully. A small nod. He smiled wider. Then, she whispered, "Sana." He looked down. "She's okay. She's warm now." Tears filled Nayari's eyes. She weakly pressed her lips to her baby's forehead. Her shoulders shook. Silent sobs. Relief, fear, exhaustion. Eli looked away for a moment, giving her privacy. Then he reached into his pack and brought out a water pouch. He held it out carefully. "Drink," he said, slowly. She didn't understand the words, but she understood the gesture. She took the pouch, her fingers trembling. The water tasted like life. Over the next day, Eli taught her simple words. "Water," he said, showing the pouch. She repeated softly, "Wa." "Tur, warm," he said, pointing at the heater. "Warm," she echoed. He showed her a ration bar. "Food." "Fud," she said. Mispronounced but trying. Each word built a tiny bridge between their worlds. She taught him too. Slowly. Her language was soft and flowing. The word for baby was Sana. The word for thank you sounded like Zanya. She said it to him more than once. "Zanya, Eli." He nodded. "You're welcome." That night, she hummed again. The same lullaby from the snow. Her voice was still weak, but stronger than before. Eli listened in silence. She rocked the baby in her arms. Now wrapped in a warm towel Eli had found in the outpost's storage. The child's color was better. Her eyes blinked once, then closed. Peacefully. "You're a good mother," Eli said quietly. Nayari looked at him. She didn't understand the words, but something in his voice made her smile. Later, as she slept again, Eli opened his notebook. He began writing in small, careful letters. Day 12 mission changed. Found alien woman and child in snow, both alive. Baby close to death. Woman likely exiled. Will keep them alive until rescue. Name, Nayari. Child, Santa. She's scared, but strong. Reminds me of home. Of Lila. He paused. Lila, his sister's name. He remembered her lost long ago in a shuttle crash. She was just a teenager. He had promised to protect her. He had failed. Eli looked up at Nayari and the baby. "I won't fail again," he whispered. Morning came slow and gray. Nayari opened her eyes first. She sat up a little. Her body still weak, but her spirit different. She wasn't just surviving now. She was trying. She reached for the pouch. Eli handed it to her. "Water," she said proudly. He smiled. "That's right." Then she pointed at the heater. "Warm. You're getting it?" She looked around the room, touched the wall gently. "Safe," she said. Unsure, Eli nodded. "Yes, safe." She smiled. Then her hand touched his arm gently. She looked into his eyes. "Zanya, Eli." He didn't answer with words. He just placed his hand over hers. No one had touched him in months. Not like that. Not with trust. He tightened his grip, just a little. "You're not alone anymore," he said quietly. The days passed, but the snow outside never stopped. It fell heavy and thick, covering everything in white silence. The old outpost groaned, sometimes under the wind, but it still held strong. Inside, life slowly began to return. Nayari sat near the heater with her baby, wrapped in thick cloth. Her eyes watched every flicker of the orange glow. It wasn't much, but it was warmth. Warmth she thought she would never feel again. Sana lay in her arms, sleeping peacefully now. The baby's breathing had become stronger. Her cheeks, once pale and cold, had color again. Tiny, soft sounds came from her mouth, just like any healthy baby. Eli entered from the storage room, holding a metal pot with steam rising from it. He smiled. "Soup," he said proudly. He had found a sealed container of survival rations, real food, not just dry bars. With the help of a makeshift fire stove, he had cooked something simple. Nayari looked up, her nose catching the scent. Her stomach growled. She smiled softly. "Fud," she said, remembering the word. Eli laughed. "Close enough." He poured some soup into a small cup and handed it to her. Her hands were still weak, so he steadied the cup for her. Careful, hot. She blew gently and took a small sip. Her eyes widened. It was bland and watery but to her. It was the best thing she had tasted in weeks. Tears rose in her eyes again. She looked at him, held the cup close, and whispered, "Warm." Later, as Sana slept again, Nayari tried standing. Her legs shook. Eli rushed to her side. Woozy. She held onto the wall and steadied herself. "Walk," she said, breathing. "Hard try. Walk." Eli nodded, gently guiding her. Step by step, she moved from one end of the room to the other. Slow, tired, but walking. "You're getting stronger," Eli said, proud. She looked up at him with a tired smile. "Strong because of you." Eli didn't answer. His throat tightened. She had no idea how much those words meant to him that night. They sat across from each other, wrapped in blankets. The heater hummed quietly. Sana was tucked in, sleeping. Soundly, Nayari traced a symbol in the dust on the floor, 3 circles inside one large circle. "What's that?" Eli asked. She looked at him, then pointed at herself, at Santa, and then at him. He blinked. Wait, this is us. She nodded. He looked down at the symbol again. A family. He didn't say the word out loud. It felt too heavy, too soon. But something warm stirred in his chest. He pointed at her drawing. What do your people call this? She paused, then whispered, Valana. Valana, he repeated. It's beautiful. Her eyes softened. It means joined by heart, not by blood. Eli swallowed hard. Joined by heart. The next morning, Nyari surprised him. She was holding a brush she had made from loose wires and cloth. She had found it in the storage room and cleaned it. Now she used it to comb Sanaz. Soft-haired Eli watched from the doorway. You're full of surprises. She looked up, smiling. Mothers always find a way. He chuckled. That's true everywhere, I guess. He stepped inside and placed a folded piece of cloth beside her. Found some clean wraps, might fit the baby better. Nyari touched the cloth gently, eyes wide. Soft, she whispered. I cleaned it with water from melted snow, he explained. No soap. Sorry. No. Good, she said, nodding together. They wrapped Santa with care. Nyari's fingers moved carefully, making small knots too. Keep the wrap tight but gentle. When they were done, the baby looked peaceful, safe, like she belonged. Nyari looked at Eli. Zanya, she said again, but this time her voice shook slightly. Eli gently placed a hand on her shoulder. You don't have to thank me anymore. She looked down, then slowly lifted her hand and placed it over his. I do, she whispered, because no one ever did this. Not even my own people. Later that day, the outpost's old signal. Light blinked once. Eli rushed to the panel. The emergency beacon he had turned on days ago had finally responded. A small green light glowed. Rescue signal received, the screen said. He turned to Nyari, heart pounding. They got the signal. She didn't understand the words, but his excitement made her smile. He stepped closer. Someone's coming. Help. Safety. Food. Shelter. Her smile faded a little. Go. She asked slowly. He paused. Her eyes were asking more than just the word. Would he leave her? Would they be separated? Eli shook his head. We stay together. She stared at him. Valana, he said. Her eyes filled again, and for the first time, she believed the warmth wouldn't fade. Nyari stared at the flame of the small heater. Her arms wrapped tightly around Santa. The baby slept quietly. Her tiny fingers curled into Nyari's shawl. But Nyari didn't feel peace, not yet. Outside, the storm still whispered. But inside, the silence had grown deeper. Eli noticed. He had been watching her all morning. She had stopped smiling. She barely spoke. Something was weighing heavy in her chest. Eli sat beside her and slowly offered a hot drink. She took it, but didn't meet his eyes. Are you okay? He asked. She looked down. Okay, but it wasn't true. He could see that she sipped. The drink? Then, after a long pause, her lips moved. A soft word came out shaky and strange. Punished. Eli blinked. What? She said it again, slower this time. Ished. I was punished. Eli's heart sank. She was trying to tell him. Finally, he nodded. Okay, I'm listening. Nyari took a shaky breath. She placed Santa gently on the blanket beside her, then held her own hands like they were broken. My people, Valeri. She began in broken English. They have rules. She touched the faded symbols on her arm lines, burned into her skin. Only pure. Can be mother. Only married. Only bloodline. Her eyes grew darker. I was not. Eli nodded slowly. So they exiled you. She frowned at the word. He pointed to the door. then made a throwing gesture. Her lips trembled. Yes, throw. Like meat. Eli clenched his jaw. Why? Just because you had a baby, Nyari didn't answer right away. She stared at her child, who breathed softly under the warm wrap. Then she whispered, Father was not Valeri. He was from another species. Nyari nodded. He was from the stars, a traveler. Like you? Eli blinked. A human. She shook her head. Not human, but like, kind, strong, lost. He helped me. I helped him. Then we loved. Her eyes turned glassy. But my people saw. Only shame. They took him away. I never saw again. Eli whispered. I'm sorry. She nodded slowly. They said, I am dirty. Baby too. Eli's hands tightened into fists. What kind of people could say that about a mother and child? Nyari picked up Sana again and held her close. They told me, take the child and leave, or we kill her. Her voice broke. I walked. For 3 nights, no food, no heat. I sang to keep her awake. She looked down at Sane's face. I thought she would die in my arms. Then you came. Eli swallowed hard. You're strong. You didn't give up. I was ready, she whispered. Ready to die. But not her. Never her. There was silence. Only the soft sound of snow brushing the metal walls. Then Nyari looked up again. Why? Did you help? The question caught Eli off guard. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Then said quietly, because someone once helped me too. Eli reached into his jacket and pulled out a small necklace. A rusted dog tag. He held it up. My sister Lila, he said. We were in a crash when I was a boy. She kept me alive, gave me food, gave me warmth, but there wasn't enough for both of us. His voice broke. She didn't make it. I did. Nyari gently touched the dog tag. She saved you. He nodded. And now I save who I can. They sat there for a moment. 2 different lives. 2 different worlds. But the pain they understood it the same. That evening, Nyari began singing again. This time, her voice was stronger, clearer. The lullaby still held sorrow, but now it also held hope. Eli listened in silence. After the song ended, Nyari whispered something soft in her own tongue. Eli looked up. What does that mean? She hesitated, then spoke slowly. It means, even in the cold, the heart remembers warmth. Eli smiled gently. That's beautiful. She looked at him with tired, kind eyes. It's for you. Later, she drew another symbol in the dust, 2 shapes beside a small one, standing under a single circle. He asked, What's this? She smiled faintly. It means, found family. Eli stared at the drawing for a long time, then whispered Valana. Her eyes widened in surprise. You remember? She asked. I never forgot, he said. The storm had stopped. For the first time in many days, the sky outside turned pale blue. The wind slowed. The sun peeked weakly through clouds, throwing soft golden light on the snowy land inside the outpost. Warmth and peace filled the air. Nyari fed little Sana with melted snow and crushed ration paste. The baby laughed a tiny, gurgling sound that made Nyari smile wider than she had in years. Eli watched them from the doorway. That's the first time I've heard her laugh, he said quietly. Nyari looked up, her eyes soft. Oh, she feels safe. Eli nodded. She is safe. But he said it too soon, too confidently, because just moments later, he saw them tracks, fresh ones. In the snow, he stepped outside, squinting, his breath caught in his throat. Boot prints, heavy. In rows, too big to be Nyari's, too deep for light scouts, and too recent to be from the storm days ago. Someone or something had come close. Very close. He rushed back inside. "Nayari," he said urgently. "Stay here. Hold Sana. Don't open the door unless I say so." She blinked, confused. "What's wrong?" Eli pointed to the door, then made a walking motion with his fingers. Tracks. Someone outside. Nayari's face changed instantly. She clutched Sana tightly, her whole body going stiff. "Valeri?" she whispered. Eli frowned. "Valeri? Your people." She nodded. They came to finish. Eli grabbed his old rifle from under the cot. It wasn't fancy, an old ballistic model, but it worked. He checked the chamber. Loaded. Nayari stood, scared but angry. "They will not take her." Eli looked at her. "I won't let them." He went to the roof hatch of the outpost and peeked through the snow-layered opening. There, as far down the hill, he spotted movement. Shadows, 3 figures in thick armor. They were scanning the area, holding strange metal rods that buzzed with blue light. One of them pointed toward the outpost. Eli closed the hatch and climbed down. "They know you're here," he said. "They're coming." Nayari took a breath. "Then we hide." But Eli shook his head. "There's no basement, no back door. If they want in, we have to stop them." She looked at him. "You fight. For me?" Eli stepped closer. "Oh, you think I came all this way just to let them take you now?" Her eyes filled. She nodded. Then she whispered, "I fight too." He stared at her, surprised. "You're still weak." "I hold Sana. I don't run, but I fight." "Here," she pointed, to her chest. "With my will," Eli gave a tight smile. "Then we fight together." Minutes later, he had reinforced the door with metal bars. He placed traps, old shock plates, hidden wires, anything he could salvage from the outpost. He loaded the second pistol and gave it to Nayari. She held it like she had used one before. "You sure you've done this?" he asked. She nodded. "I was a soldier before I was a mother." Eli blinked. "You've lived many lives." She smiled faintly. "And one more now. Thanks to you." The sun began to dip. Then silence. Then footsteps. Crunching snow. Then a voice. Harsh and cold, speaking in Nayari's language. She went pale. "What are they saying?" Eli whispered. She translated slowly. "They say, come out. Give us the baby. We'll make it quick." Eli clenched his jaw. Charming people. Another shout. Another demand. Then silence. And then no. Bang. The outpost door shuddered. They were trying to break in. Eli aimed his rifle at the entrance. "You stay behind me." Another bang. The lock bent. Metal squealed. "Wait," Nayari whispered. "Listen." Stopped. A low hum buzzed outside. Suddenly, the outpost's solar lights flickered, then went out. "They've jammed the power," Eli said. "They want us blind." But he had one more trick. He pulled out a flash charge, an old one, but still active. "Close your eyes," he whispered. She did. Boom. The door burst open just as the flash lit the room. 3 Valeri soldiers rushed in, blinded by the light. One screamed, covering his eyes. Eli fired, once hit the leg. Nayari screamed, "Go back. You will not take her." The lead soldier raised his weapon but froze when Nayari stepped forward, the baby behind her. Her hands outstretched with the pistol. "I will burn this place," she yelled in Valeri. "Before I let you take her." The soldiers hesitated. Then a new voice came from outside. Calm, female. "Cold, stand down." Another figure stepped in. Tall, regal armor. Her eyes locked onto Nayar. "You're still alive," she said in their language. "Unfortunate." Nayari trembled. "You were my sister." The woman smirked. and you were my shame. Eli stepped forward. You're not taking them. The tall woman raised an eyebrow. A human. Eli didn't blink. Call me whatever you want. But if you take one step closer to them, I'll show you what humans are made of. The Valeri commander looked at him for a long time, then at Naori, then at the baby. She tilted her head. She sings like our mother, Naori whispered. And you would silence that? The woman's face twitched. For the first time, her eyes looked unsure. You would kill a child, Naori continued, just to keep your pride. Silence. Then, slowly, the commander turned. Fall back. She ordered. We leave. The soldiers hesitated, but obeyed. They disappeared into the snow. Eli shut the door again. He looked at Naori, stunned. You. Stop them. She shook, tears falling. I told you. I fight here. She placed a hand on her heart. He pulled her into an embrace. Outside, the snow began falling again. But inside, a family had stood strong. Together, the quiet didn't last. 4. A few hours after the Valeri soldiers left, the outpost felt safe again. Naori cradled little Santa close to her chest, her voice humming softly. Eli checked the weapons again, just in case. Neither of them trusted the silence. Then sometime. In the deep of night, Lee heard something outside. He stood still. It was soft. Like humming metal. Then a sharp click. Like a tripwire being tested. He grabbed his rifle, eyes narrowing. Naori looked up. What is it? They're back, he said. And this time, they're not asking. Outside, shadows moved through. The falling snow, the Valeri commander hadn't left after all. She had only changed tactics. Instead of a direct attack, she had called in a hunter drones, small, silent, and deadly. It scanned heat signatures, searched for movement, and could strike without warning. Eli saw the red light flicker through a crack in the outpost wall. It swept past slowly. Searching, they sent a drone, he whispered. Naori gasped. Want us dead? He nodded. They don't want to bring you back anymore. Now, they just want to erase you. Eli made a fast decision. We can't stay here, he said. They'll blast this place apart if they have to. Where? Naori asked. The snow, it's still too deep. I have a cave nearby. It's where I hid my gear when I first landed. It's covered by rocks, no scanner will see it. He started packing quickly. We go now, before the drone finishes scanning the area. She held Santa close, wrapping her tightly in cloth. I can walk? Eli looked at her, uncertain. You sure? I will not stay here and wait to die, she said. He nodded. Then let's move. They slipped out through the back hatch, barely used and half covered in snow. Eli helped Naori down the slope, keeping low. He walked in front to break the snow path for her. His rifle was slung over his shoulder, one hand ready. Behind them, the red light passed over the outpost again, and stopped. Then it blinked faster. It had detected the heat, and the absence of bodies inside. It shrieked a warning. Then the drone shot forward like a bullet. Eli heard the hum grow louder. Run, he yelled. They rushed across the ice ridge. Naori stumbled once Eli caught her with one arm. Sana didn't cry, but her eyes were wide and alert. The cave wasn't far now, just beyond the ridge of rocks. The drone appeared above them, its red light fixed on their backs. Eli turned, fired, bang. The bullet hit the side panel. Sparks flew. The drone wobbled, but didn't fall. It returned fire. A blast of hot plasma sizzled past his face. They ducked behind a large boulder. Snow exploded behind them. Eli looked at Naori. Take the baby, crawl into the cave. Now, what about you? I'll hold it off. She shook her head. No. Yes. "I have a plan," he said, loading another round. "But I need to." "Keep it busy while you hide." Her lips trembled. "Don't die." He smiled faintly. "I promised I'd keep you both safe, remember?" Then he stood, drew the drone's fire and ran in the opposite direction. The drone chased him across the snowy field, red lights flashing. It fired again. The snow burst under Eli's feet, spraying into the air. He ducked, rolled, and fired once more, this time aiming at the lens. Crack. Direct hit. The red light shattered. The drone spun wildly, sensors damaged. It shrieked again metal, grinding and crashed into the snow with a sharp hiss. Eli lay on the ground, breathing hard. His arm was burned, his face cut. But he was alive. Back at the cave, Nayari waited at the entrance. Sana was wrapped in her arms, warm against her chest. When she saw Eli limping toward them, she ran forward, ignoring the pain in her legs. "You're hurt." "Just a scratch," he muttered, falling to his knees. She helped him inside. The cave was dry, dark, and hidden. It smelled like earth. Safe. She cleaned his wounds with snow and wrapped them with cloth torn from her outer robe. He watched her in silence, then said softly, "You're not just a mother or a soldier." She looked up. "Your hope." Her lips parted. She didn't answer. Instead, she leaned forward and gently rested her forehead against his. For a long time, neither of them moved. Sana cooed in the background. Later, Eli lay back on a blanket, Sana sleeping beside him. Nayari watched the stars through a crack in the cave wall. "They will come again," she said softly. "Let them," Eli replied. "You are one man." He looked at her. "And yet here we are still breathing. One man, one woman, and one little miracle." She smiled, then whispered, "Maybe that's enough." The cave was quiet. Outside, the snowstorm had slowed again, falling in soft sheets. But the cold was still sharp. Inside, the tiny flame from Eli's travel heater flickered weakly, giving off just enough warmth to keep them alive. Nayari sat close to the fire, baby Sana asleep in her lap. The child's breathing was calm, now steady, soft, safe. Eli lay beside them, his arm bandaged, his eyes watching the ceiling of stone above. They hadn't spoken much since the drone attack. Words didn't feel big enough. But now, something strange broke the silence. A hum, very low, very familiar. Eli turned his head. Nayari was humming the same song she sang that night in the snow. The song she thought would be her last lullaby. "Sleep, little flame, though the stars are gone. I'll hold you close until the warmth comes on." Her voice was stronger now, not loud, but steady. Sure, she wasn't singing in pain anymore. She was singing with hope. Eli blinked away the sting in his eyes. "That song," he whispered. "It stayed in my head since the first night." Nayari looked up, smiling softly. "Our mother sang it to me, a cold nights. Now you sing it for Sana," he said. She nodded. "And tonight, I sing it. For us all." As the melody echoed through the small cave, a soft light blinked on Eli's pad. He sat up, fast. Checked it. The rescue beacon finally answered. His voice trembled. "They're coming." Nayar leaned forward. "Who?" "Search and rescue team, human. From Orbit Patrol." They picked up the signal. He looked at her, then at Sana. "We're going to be safe." Her hand went to her mouth. Her eyes filled with tears. "They will take you," she said slowly. "Not me. Not her." "No," Eli said. "That's not how this ends." She didn't respond. She had seen too much rejection, too much loss. She believed kindness, but not miracles. Eli reached forward, took her hand, and placed the pad in her palm. This signal saved all of us. I didn't send it for me. Hours later, they heard the hum. Not a drone this time. A real ship human. Design, it came low over the trees and snowdrifts, gentle and smooth. Blue lights circled beneath it. Eli stepped out of the cave and waved the emergency torch. The ship hovered. Then lowered to the ground. A ramp dropped open. 2 officers in white gear stepped out. Eli Marone, one called. He nodded. You found us. The officer stared at Nairi behind him, thin, violet-skinned, holding a bundled infant. She, with you, she's why I'm still alive. The officer looked between them, confused. You were only authorized for a tech recovery mission? What happened? Eli stepped forward. I found something more important than tech. He pointed at Nayar. This woman and her child were left to die. If we leave them again, we're no better. The second officer stepped forward, scanning. Nayari, with a soft light. Life signs stable. Child's vitals normal. Mixed DNA. Interesting. She's half Valeri, Eli said. The baby too. But that doesn't matter. The first officer hesitated. Protocol requires quarantine. And she's not registered. Eli stood tall. Then register her. As my dependent, Nayari gasped behind him. Eli, he turned. You saved me too, Nayari. You kept me human. You gave me something to protect. The officers looked at each other, then one of them tapped his communicator. 2 survivors, 1 non-human, requesting medpod and full transport. The reply came fast. Confirmed. Bring them in. Inside the ship, everything felt strange. To Nayar, bright walls, warm air, gentle lights. She sat on a cushioned bed, Sana asleep again in her arms. Eli stood beside her, cleaned and patched up. She looked at him with fear and wonder. They let me stay, he smiled. Of course, I told you, we stay together. Her eyes searched his face. Why do you care so much? Eli sat down beside her. Because I lost someone once. And I swore. If I ever had the chance to save another life, I wouldn't run. I wouldn't turn away. He looked down at Sana. Now I get to help raise one. Hours passed. The ship rose into the sky. Breaking through the clouds, Nayari watched through the window as the snowy world disappeared beneath them. Her old home, her exile, her pain left behind. She turned to Eli. You're not afraid? What? The future? The difference between us? He took her hand. We're not so different. We both lost something, and now we both found something worth keeping. She held his hand tighter, then began humming the lullaby again. Eli listened with closed eyes. Sleep, little flame, though the stars are gone. He whispered the next line with her, voice shaking. I'll hold you close until the warmth comes on. As the stars blinked outside the ship, a new family sat close together in the warm light of tomorrow. No longer forgotten, no longer alone.